For centuries, the works of William Shakespeare have been firmly positioned at the absolute pinnacle of high art. Walk through the Tudor-style streets of Stratford-upon-Avon, and you are surrounded by an academic reverence for a playwright whose dense, poetic language is often treated as impenetrable to the casual reader. Sitcoms, on the other hand, usually sit on the opposite end of the cultural spectrum. Modern animated television is frequently dismissed as disposable pop culture, designed for quick laughs and short attention spans, then quickly forgotten. Yet, The Simpsons, arguably the defining television artifact of the late 20th century, harbors a profound, decades-long obsession with the bard, which raises a mechanical question. How exactly does a cartoon about a dysfunctional family effectively translate the English language's most complex literature for a Friday night mass audience? The writing staff achieved this through a methodical progression, starting with quick, surface-level gags before eventually letting the bard's plots drive the entire show. This integration begins at its most basic level, using the playwright purely as a surface-level punchline. The show drops a heavy literary reference into a totally mundane or ridiculous situation to create instant friction. We see this clearly in the episode Last Exit to Springfield. This diagram illustrates the infinite monkey theorem, a mathematical concept suggesting that an infinite number of monkeys with typewriters will eventually produce the complete works of Shakespeare. The show turns this high-minded statistical theory into a visual gag about Mr. Burns's basement. In A Star is Burns, the writers pull a similar trick. Barney Gumbel's surprisingly artistic independent film, Pocahontas, abruptly features a direct quote from the tragedy of Othello. The comedic mechanics here are highly specific. The joke lands because of the sharp contrast between the elite reputation of the source material and the complete absurdity of the character delivering it. These fast gags succeed because the audience intrinsically understands Shakespeare's massive cultural weight. The writers use our own academic reverence as the setup and the absurdity of Springfield as the punchline. Beyond these quick gags, the writers began weaving Shakespeare directly into the structural DNA of the episodes to frame entirely new narratives. Season 7's Much Ado About Nothing is a perfect example. On the surface, the title looks like a clever pun, but the entire episode operates by lifting the comedic engine of the original play. This side-by-side flowchart maps the core plot points of Much Ado About Nothing against the episode's narrative. Where Shakespeare used compounding misunderstandings to drive a 16th century romantic comedy, the Simpsons writers use those exact same structural beats to explore modern immigration and societal bias. They repeat this technique in A Midsummer's Nice Dream. The episode actively mirrors the surreal, twisting logic of Shakespeare's Forest, utilizing the dreamlike humor of the source text to ground their own absurd visual gags. By recycling these specific theatrical frameworks, the episodes demonstrate that 400-year-old structural comedy templates are still perfectly engineered to process 20th century social issues. The final stage of this progression moves into full character integration, filtering heavy tragedies straight through the show's established cast. Interestingly, this thematic borrowing started immediately in Season 1 with The Telltale Head. The episode uses this man, Edgar Allan Poe, and his famous short story for the title, setting up a clever bait-and-switch. The actual plot, featuring a protagonist driven to madness by the guilt of a severed head, is a direct thematic translation of Macbeth. By Season 13's Tales from the Public Domain, they tackle the texts head-on. Casting Bart in the role of Prince Hamlet forces the writers to simplify the original play, turning deep existential dread into sharp, accessible satire. Later, Marge steps into the role of Lady Macbeth in Four Great Women and a Manicure. Here, bloody royal ambition is reinterpreted through the intense, microscopic politics of a suburban housewife trying to get ahead. Stripping away the complex Elizabethan vocabulary actually distills the emotional core of these plays. The Simpsons proves that the heavy themes of human nature, guilt, ambition, and betrayal, do not require a literature degree to understand. We began by placing Shakespeare on an elite academic pedestal and animated television in the realm of disposable entertainment. But the historical reality of the Globe Theatre looks remarkably different. Shakespeare did not write for silent academics in a library. He wrote for the groundlings, a loud, working-class crowd demanding body humor, dramatic violence, and relatable family dysfunction. In this light, the show becomes Shakespeare's modern successor, delivering complex social satire to the exact kind of mass audience he originally commanded. Pulling these specific cultural references apart gives us a cleaner look at both properties. It reveals that Shakespeare's original works are packed with a sharper wit than most high school curriculums suggest, and that Springfield was built by writers deeply invested in literary history. Bridging the gap between 16th century high literature and 20th century pop culture leaves us with a reassuring conclusion. Human nature and the specific things that make us laugh remain completely timeless.